the show will be presented on March 15th at 7:30, as well as March 16th at 2 p.m. at the ReAlisal Center. We would also like to welcome the president of the college, Dr. Willard Llewellyn, for joining us tonight. And now the Western Stage is proud to present ReAlisal, Stories from the East Side.
Hello everybody, my name is Emily Morales and I am one of the co-directors and producers of ReAlisal. Before we start, I just want to let you know that there will be a talkback at the end of this show. The show is approximately an hour and 20 minutes. At that point, the doors will be open if you need to leave. However, we do encourage you to stay for the talkback. The purpose of this production really is to help not only share our stories, but also create a community dialogue so that we can begin to create bridges and connect with one another. So we do encourage you to stay and give us maybe your stories and a little bit of your feedback and your experiences. Some of the material that you might hear tonight might be a little strong. The actors that you're going to hear these stories from are our youth direct out of East Salinas, and we are incredibly proud of them. And I just want you to know that they have worked incredibly hard to be here with you. So please show them all the love you've got. Don't be shy. It's a small space, but they're going to feel you, and we want them to be able to feel your energy with them. Okay? Yes? Yes. Are we ready? We are ready to go and enjoy ReAlisal, Stories from East Salinas.
Act 1, Scene 1.
Every time you speak
Of our East Side streets,
there's always something that just messes with me.
In the morning,
Afternoon,
and on the evening news,
round the clock report.
with Holovine's rules,
blah, blah, blah,
Headlines,
rumors,
got them all confused.
their headlines, and stories.
ain't always that cool. Second-class citizens,
Middle West immigrants.
does a slave wager,
And after 9 months profit, it's
hasta later.
so distracting to believe
That media
Smack,
to our face, in our ear,
behind our back.
redneck,
gangster,
okie,
illegal, trailer trash,
Baisa,
separate.
but equal.
The East Side's got stories.
about the ReAlisal people.
Overtime workers,
And some patrocitos.
that's right. 93905, off to work.
Solid grandmothers, brown and proud girls,
Master obreros,
Valley of the world.
parents working more than 1, 2, 3 jobs, never paid overtime.
create conditions that contribute to
A school-to-prison pipeline,
Pushing generations and generations of.
more crime,
But it's not about las drogas. And it's not about the puentes.
It's about your vecino next door.
From the ReAlisal, East Salinas.
presente.
Act 1, Scene 2, East Side Interviewers.
Check it out. So we got this history.
From where?
From all over. All over what? All over the 93905. The ReAlisal? The east side of Salinas.
From here?
From when? From as back as these pics go. You're all bored and go on the internet, huh? I wasn't bored, I was intrigued.
By what?
By what's been posted. Most of the time it's just the same thing repeating in their own words what we've all heard before. Yeah, some repeating, but some really remember it. The neighborhood? And let's check it out, yeah? What, those cuentos? That history?
From our side of town?
And we'll start with this place right here. You know what this place used to be? A big box ring. Before that.
A bread box. The bread box used to be a bread box?
Simone, you can still smell that lagging with bread.
I smell carnitas.
Oh, and remember how they used to talk about there being a drive-in movie theater down the block?
No.
Well, there was.
How do you know?
No, he's right. Ideals would always talk about going to the Skyview.
And what would they see?
Movies, what else? What kind of movies?
Movies, comedy, drama, action, scary old horror flicks.
There was even know, pulga.
Aw man, this is the east side.
There's pulgas everywhere.
But this one was big every weekend. Say you all kinds of folks would hit it up.
Oh, and that old two-story house behind the gate? The one with that water tower in it?
And the indoor swimming pool?
Ever wondered about the history of that place?
That big old Casa Blanca?
That Casablanca was a Sanborn house.
The Sanborns, like as in Sanborn Road?
They used to own all this land.
And they lived in that house?
Special design.
Act 1, Scene 3A, early 1900s.
Here you go, Mr. and Mrs. Sanborn. She's all yours. After you, darling.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Custom made.
Custom made indeed.
I guess you're right.
With an indoor swimming pool and our own little water tower.
Overlooking the lake.
God's country.
The Sanborns would go all out and use their home as a place to host some pretty happening.
Soiree.
And you're all invited.
Oh, honey, now we have a list. Remember, we can't just go inviting any old Yahoo off the street.
Yahoo? My mom's the only one that I know that still uses Yahoo.
Hey, what did she say? Swear what?
Swear word flip.
Pedialyte?
Affected.
A shindig?
A carousel.
A clipping?
A weenie rose.
Oh!
For who?
For anyone listening to this valley.
Like who? Like the Taylors?
Santos.
The
The
churches?
churches.
Aren't those farms?
And in pockets?
Yeah.
Act 1, Scene 3B.
Well then, whatever happened to the Sanborns?
I guess they bounced, but then this other family took over it.
What of them?
The Carlos. The Carlos, yeah, they make like fire extinguishers.
And now?
Now they're organizing big time to hand it off to the community.
El Centro de Amor y Esperanza.
The Center for Love?
And hope. That's what they're going to call it.
It's a working title.
It works for me.
¿Y los demás?
Sold to the other side of the school district and built Sanborn Elementary School,
Where?
where Jesse G. Sanchez School stands now.
Act 1, Scene 4.
Hi, Larry.
Mary Lou? Mary?
Now, children, don't run. You know the rules.
Afternoon, Miss B.
Why, good afternoon, Mrs. Fosford. How are you doing?
Just fine, Miss B. Here to pick up the girls. I see you got Larry handling the crossguard duty.
And doing just a dandy job at that. Say, are you planning to make this month's Sanborn School PTA?
Wouldn't miss it for the world. In fact, we're ready for our annual bake sale.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that, Mrs. Fosford.
Gonna make my first place pies this year.
Your prize of winning lemon meringue.
That's the one.
Save me a slice, will you?
Already got yours on me, sir.
Oh, you're such a dear. I tell you, there's nothing I look forward to more than a slice of that lemon meringue pie.
You and the rest of the ReAlisal.
Act 1, Scene 5.
Hey there, Laird.
How's it going, Bixby?
Let's say we go down the creek and catch ourselves some crawdads.
Sounds good.
Catch what?
Crawdads, eh? Crawfish.
Where?
In the creek behind Costa Plaza.
They got from the creek?
Natividad Creek.
Shh, I see one. It's coming my way. Get him! Oh, missed him. There he goes. Gotcha!
What are they doing?
They're setting up a little barbacoa, dude.
Oh, okay. So then, like, instead of carne asada,
Oh.
That there looks about right.
Put a little lemon.
And a little Tabasco.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Let's go catch some more.
Let's go.
Act 1, Scene 6.
that's gross.
How do you know they're gross? Y'all never even had any.
Look where they got it from.
That creek's polluted with all kinds of microbial.
But back in the day, that creek was a natural food source.
Whatever.
Hey, and who was the one who told me these stories?
My uncle knew a guy who fished for crawdads in that creek way back when I later went on to become one of the most well-respected
Más chingón.
country and honky-tonk rock star.
Who was that?
Act 1, Scene 7.
Larry Hosford, OG Alice got to jam out with George Harrison.
George Harrison? The Beatle George Harrison?
Yeah. And he lived where?
On Orchard.
Orchard. How long did he live there?
Till the day he died.
Check this out. Saw an interviewer. They did a bit a while back.
When did you start playing, Mr. Hosford?
I was playing from a young age, but it wasn't until the mid-60s when I started hanging out with the E-types, the English types.
As in the Beatles and Rolling Stone kind of English type of influence?
Simone,
Orale.
let's take a walk.
Where are we going?
A little stroll. Get to know the neighborhood.
Oh, I already know the east side.
Yeah, but do you know the ReAlisal?
Yeah?
Come here. Look around. Notice the size of these houses?
Yup, typical old style East Side homes. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath.
Notice the size of the lots they're sitting on?
Oh yeah, they're huge.
A lot of families ended up adding on to those small homes. They're the standard New Deal homes, thanks to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
New Deal? Like the street New Deal?
Exactly. It's what we lived in, still do. See that Quonset hut right over there?
A what?
Quonset hut. Homes made out of aluminum, usually made for the military.
Kinda looks like an igloo.
First time I made out with a girl right there. Played spin the bottle with Yolanda Castillo.
Oh yeah, was she hot?
What do you think, boy? Okay, right around here on Williams Del Monte, I remember my dad caught sight of some cattle rustlers over on the barn property.
Cattle rustlers? Like carjackers trying to steal cattle?
Yeah, so I guess you can call them cowjackers.
Looky here, quite a beauty.
Moo! Moo! Moo!
Come on now, we ain't gonna hurt you. Just gonna chop you up and sell you for some steaks and short ribs.
Moo!
I'd leave her be if I was you, Bubba.
Moo?
You see nothing, Hosford.
The hell I did!
Moo!
Oh, Jesus, cute Christ, all right. Don't see what all the fuss is. Barney ain't gonna miss his one little cow.
Maybe not. You pay for that meat like everybody else.
Okay, nabbit. That was trippy. So cows made all the way to Williams and Del Monte?
Yep, and Jim Barn came all the way from down the hills up past Old Stage Road and rewarded my father with a bottle of whiskey.
Your old man got down like that?
We all did, son. See the Santa Lucia Library over there?
You mean Cesar Chavez?
That too. There was a barn that was built back in the 40s. Used for all kinds of different things, like a church, a roller rink, and pretty much a community center. It was also a stop for some of the biggest names in country music.
Nah.
Uh-huh.
Like who?
Like Loretta Lynn.
Oh, I know her.
The Smothers Brothers? No. Google it.
All right.
Or what about this guy over here?
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash?
Yes, sir.
Walk the line, Johnny Cash?
That's right.
Ring of Fire, Johnny Cash?
That's what I said.
Want some prison blues, Johnny Cash?
The one and only. Check him out.
Thank you, Salinas. Very blessed to be here on our very first stop on the U.S. tour.
Johnny!
Oh, really? My mistake. Where we at, Stuart?
Well, we flew into the Salinas airport. I figured.
Airport! Welcome to the ReAlisal!
Yeehaw! This place is crazy. I love it.
So, were you at the show?
I wish. That show was in 1956. I was just a little too young to participate in that kind of activity. But I'll tell you right now, I eventually became that kind of activity.
Right on.
Now is Mexican around the crowd. Grocery bound was in fights. Our household is hard to control. Release the flame when they're right. Back in the
Oh yeah, look at this one.
I guess I'm a hooky.
Or Mexican!
Act 1, Scene 8.
Oh wow, look at this one.
What's that?
What did this used to be?
That's where Mom would go to cash the checks.
Oh, mine too. My Theo cashes his checks there.
Where?
Quality Market. Run by night police from the police family since the 1940s.
Oh, what a beautiful home. What street is it on? Excuse me, sir, but I'm interested in this home.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Are you looking to purchase?
Yes.
Well, we can make a great deal on this home for you if you want.
Okay.
What's your name?
Felice. Pasquale Felice.
Pasquale Feliz, eh?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Feliz, according to this, it looks like you qualify.
I do?
Yes, sir. Would you like to go ahead and move forward?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, we'll have to get some initial authorization from you. Sign here,
Okay.
and 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 here,
Uh-huh.
and here.
Okay.
Congratulations! You're on the way to becoming a homeowner, Mr. Feliz.
This is wonderful. My wife would be so happy.
Well, we're glad we could help.
One thing, my friend.
Yes, Mr. Feliz?
What is the name of this street?
This one. Well, that's a good question. How about Feliz Street? Huh? How does that sound to you? You like that?
Very much, my friend. Very much. Thank you.
Wait. What are you all about cooking up in here?
It's a special homemade salad.
Well, I'm thinking this dog. I bet they're fixing on some of that.
Tenemos un poco de carne fresca, baby.
Oh, it's very good.
Hey, wait a minute. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Was I interrupting something important? Good, because for a minute there I thought I was in Italy. Speak English, fellas. You're in America. Capisce?
Okay. ¿Qué problema son?
Frescavillo, donde lo primo o luz.
Hola, buenos días, Mike. ¿Cómo está usted?
Buen día, muy bien, señor. Gracias. ¿Y tú?
Pues ahí la llevo, Mike. ¿Qué más te cuento? La vida son para los que trabajan, ¿verdad?
Pues ya, Semur.
Ay, que Mike, aprende a hablar español bien. ¿Qué no ves dónde andas? Estás en el East Side, ¿qué no entiendes?
Oh, sí, yo entiendo.
Gracias, Mike.
A usted. So, Mike and his family have been serving the East Side for over 70 years?
Wow.
Who else you got there?
Looks like a real proud set of sisters.
Oh yeah, those Sawyer sisters.
Act 1, Scene 9.
Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Oh great, because they're here.
Who's here?
The interviewers.
Hi. Welcome, welcome. Please have a seat.
It's nice to have you over. Please make yourself at home.
We do this all the time.
What, talking to me?
So, where should we start? Capicola.
Wait. Capicola? I heard about that place. Wasn't it
A post office.
Post office, really?
That's what this is. Well, right here it says it was a... Whoa.
What?
A World War II POW camp.
A prison?
Yeah.
For Nazi soldiers.
Hey.
Well, it was home for us.
Housing for farm workers.
Our dad used to work for the ranchers.
He supported my mom.
7 sisters.
And 2 brothers.
We walked almost a mile to the bus stop.
And that bus would take us to
ReAlisal Elementary School.
Virginia Vacabarn was our principal.
We couldn't speak Spanish in school in those days.
They would recommend us on the bus and at school.
But that didn't stop us from participating in stuff.
Like sports.
I was good.
We were good.
These were the late 40s.
Right after the war.
The good old days.
I remember times when I felt embarrassed because in those days people wouldn't eat burritos.
Still, that's what our mom would have us for lunch.
Remember when Ernie introduced the burritos to his classmates?
That's our younger brother.
They had never seen a burrito before in their lives.
What are you eating?
Burrito.
What's in it?
Stuffed, you want some?
Ernie eventually stopped eating his orders and started selling them. My mom would take his orders in the morning before school.
A ver, Ernie, ¿cuántos burritos vas a querer, mijo?
And he would go 6.
8.
I mean 8.
Burritos, come to get them!
And he made a little money on the side.
Where's our commodity report now?
I'll take 2! These burritos are super! Is this gonna make me speak Spanish?
Well, do you know what they're called?
Burrito!
Voila!
We were poor, but we didn't know it.
Until we were reminded.
Like whenever somebody in my class got some new clothing to wear, that was hard for me.
Okay, class, settle down now. Look, boys and girls, Jill's got a new sweater. Okay, Jill, you know what we do whenever somebody has something new to wear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you ready? New sweater, Jill's got a new sweater.
Other kids always got new clothes. We always got the hand-me-downs.
But that didn't stop me from getting on the runway.
Oh my, well shut my eyes wide open. Look, boys and girls, Hopi's got new shoes. Go on, Hopi, show off those new shoes. Ready? New shoes, Hopi's got new shoes.
Your shoes are real gas, Opie.
Thanks, I know.
Will your parents let us have a sleepover at your place tonight?
Sure. Everybody wanted to spend the night at our house because it was always so much fun.
Wow, that's so neat.
What?
Your curtains match Opie's blouse.
Oh yeah, my mom likes for us to match.
Oh, please tell me where you shop. I just gotta tell my mom.
The fabric came from a big old sack of flour.
Remember the ReAlisal movie theater?
And what they would charge for admission?
3 7-Up bottle
caps. I got my thing.
I found a lunch.
Oh, can I have one?
Hey, there's a double feature playing at the ReAlisal.
Let's go.
Walking through a party at the Catholic jail.
That's right, make those engines run. Teach them not to mess with us. Looking back at those times, I can't help but feel guilty because I would root for the Cowboys without ever really realizing that, well, our mom era Indiana.
Dad was too.
Indios Mexicanos.
So I guess that makes us all Indiana, right?
That was something I didn't understand at first.
At least not until I took a
class in Native American Studies at Hartnell Community College, where I got to read books for the first time on their history, my history. That changed my whole perspective. It changed me. I hope I don't offend anyone when I say this, but I don't root for the Cowboys anymore. Thank you.
Looks like they really knew how to have fun back then.
Yeah, like the person?
Who's that?
Patrick Askin, retired bonsai speedy. A police officer from the east side.
Grew up in the 60s and 70s and went to ReAlisal High
I
School.
wonder what they did for fun.
Act 1, Scene 10. A young Patrick Askew enters confidently with a rifle over his shoulder.
Hey there, Mr. Johansson, Mrs. Tate. Afternoon, Mr. Madewell.
Hey, Pat, you ready?
Hold up.
Hurry, son's about to go down. Taking your rifle?
Better believe I am.
Let's go.
They begin to trek out with his rifle over his shoulder. They arrive at their destination, set up camp, and light a fire. They settle into their sleeping bags and begin telling scary stories.
Who wants to hear a scary story?
I do.
Yeah.
Alright, well, it was a night like this when an old man was driving down Old Stage Road, just getting off from working in the fields, when suddenly his car broke down.
Oh crap.
Oh, I don't like the story.
He got out of his car to check out what was wrong, but then he heard a sound off in the distance.
Okay, go to sleep now.
No, keep going.
It sounded like whispers.
Oh, I'm sleeping now.
Shh, he called out.
Hey, who goes there?
He pulls out his flashlight to see what was there. But then it goes out. The whispers kept getting louder and louder. We couldn't see where they were coming from. The man yelled out to them.
If you don't show yourself, you'll all be in the world of her, I swear.
Suddenly, the man felt these sharp pains in his head. The closer the whispers got, the sharper the pain in his head. The whispers were so painful, they felt like knives stabbing him right in the both ears.
No.
Okay, stop the story about the police.
Gotcha.
That wasn't funny.
Wow, did that really happen?
No, there ain't no such thing. Oh, don't worry, there ain't gonna be no whispering knives coming out and get you. Chicken.
Shut up.
Shut up, shut up, shut up.
What was that?
That was Bobby. It's not funny anymore, Bobby.
That wasn't me.
Quit messing, Bobby!
I swear, it's getting really late. I think we should go to sleep. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Transition into daytime. They slowly get up.
So scared, crap my pants.
Morning, boys. Hey, what's today?
Friday.
You know what that means?
Fish fries!
Man, I can't wait to get to ReAlisal High. I'm joining the football team.
Bet you I can make junior varsity my first year.
You'll be lucky if you make lightweight reserve. Hey, what time is it?
Oh shoot, it's almost time.
Hurry, I don't want to miss the beginning.
Alright, channel 8.
Channel
46. Channel 11.
Hey, change it. Bonanza's on.
This is a special report from CBS News.
Boring.
Let's play slow-mo ball.
Yeah! So, hi. Hey, did you hear about all the different types of classes you can take at ReAlisal High?
No.
Like what?
Special television production classes with these machines they call tape recorders this big.
Oh yeah, I heard those machines cost like
And
$2,000.
they'll teach us how to operate them?
Oh yeah, they had all kinds of other classes.
Like what?
Like German,
Dankeschön.
aviation.
Alright guys, let us share a precautionary landing.
Where do we land?
The lettuce field! The lettuce field!
Lettuce field!
And of course, band.
Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum,
Bum, bum, do it. Oh, we gotta go. ReAlisal's the best.
It's like they got something to teach for anybody who wants to learn.
My dad says that's because of all the tax money our parents pay.
Wow, could you imagine if they stopped paying their taxes?
What would happen then? Dang, that looked like fun.
Sure, Mom, how they used to walk around with shotguns hanging over their shoulders like nuts.
Seriously, can't imagine that today.
There's more. Check out another local musician, RAZA John Higgins, and his mother, Miss Dolores Higgins. Business owner that's been in operation since the early 60s.
Act 1, Scene 11.
Welcome to the Delray Beauty Salon. The business I've been running here in the ReAlisal since 1964. When I first moved here, there was a bar next door, and a bar next door to that. And on the corner, there was a bar over there too. And I tell you, they weren't playing band music. A different time back then.
Enter a drunk stepping out of the bar onto the sidewalk, trying to get the attention of Mrs. Higgins and Rasta.
Hey! Hey! I'm talking to you. See this light right here? You can consider this amazing Dixon light. Crossing it, you're gonna have some problems.
You remember that time?
Shoot, one time I was walking home from El Sal Junior High, past one of these places. This guy comes up to me and he goes,
Boo!
trying to scare me, right? Telling me,
Hey, you dirty little
John!
And
what?
and what did you do, John?
Oh, I ran up to him and said, bam! And then, boom!
When did this happen?
Long time ago, Mom. It's all good though. They were just partying.
Well, I had a different approach. I worked with the PTA of Sherwood School, and we organized one of the first Cinco de Mayo celebrations. And when they first put the Mexican flag up, folks just came apart. It was okay though, because there was something to be fearful of.
I remember a lot of marching.
And you know what some people would say about those activities? That those who were undocumented would jump into these marches and parades, and they would somehow get them their papers.
Lobby.
I never seen so many. What?
Bet you they're all going down together. Green card.
Really?
Well, why else would they be marching, huh?
I don't know why, but that's what some people were saying. A lot of good came out of it though, like the community housing improvement systems and planning association created a lot of jobs and provided housing. Unfortunately, somebody back then took advantage and took more than their share.
Who, Mom?
I'm not at liberty to say. John, do you have any more to share with these young folks?
Well, one of the biggest memories for me or for anyone at the East Side has got to be cruising. Cruising on Sunday nights. Can't say I remember when it actually started, but it was like one day I just walked out the door and there it was, a car show. And that was like, wow, man.
For you, the rest of us found it hard to appreciate such a custom, especially when it jammed up ReAlisal Street to the point where it felt like hours trying to get past all the traffic.
But it was fun though, Mom.
And that fun became dangerous after a while.
They shut it down.
Make no mistake, there have been improvements though, because back then, being a business owner and resident here in ReAlisal, you didn't get much representation.
Nobody was really looking out for the East Side back then.
Not until around 1988, when they started district elections. Instead of overall voting, there was representation for districts. And that was when a man by the name of Jesse G. Sanchez came to our NAACP meetings and talked to us about redistricting. And I thought it was a great idea, so I decided to run. I knew that I wouldn't get it, but at least I was giving some competition.
And that was hard work for her too.
I was proud of my attempt to run for our East Side district and do my best to change the way this community has been perceived as.
Like over there,
Or that it's exclusive to.
gang activity.
Because if we're to change things around here, I don't know if more police officers will help. Participation will help, and you can't expect anything to change unless you participate.
Yes, sir.
East Side interviewers going for a stroll down MLK Academy on North Sanborn Road. Act 1, Scene 12.
Did you say you saw a pulga here?
Every Saturday and Sunday, you found everything you needed then.
Enter Pulga workforce.
Sandía, pepino, y piña.
Toys para los niños.
En hierbas para que se le cambie sabor de negros.
Every weekend, the line of cars to get in would cause backup on Sanford Road. And at night, they would play movies.
Act 1, Scene 13. Skyview homies assemble in the Skyview drive-in parking lot.
Hey, movie's about to start.
Hey, Vato, I've been thinking.
You been thinking yesterday?
Yeah, man,
Sorry to hear that, eh?
I know, I'm serious, Holmes.
Hey, I got something that'll take care of those thoughts that say.
Hey, no, I'm serious, Holmes. I really gonna start shutting down some of the bobby clubs around here.
Okay, now.
Everybody shut up!
Alright, it's gonna be Rocky.
I'm Rocky.
This is a preview, Vato. Movie ain't even out.
You were Rocky last week.
Charlie, I'm still Rocky Holmes. Check me out.
Rocky!
Go, Adrian. What are you doing?
Can never watch a movie at the Skyview in peace.
Act 1, Scene 14.
Hey, what up? Looking for some friends of mine. Said they wanted to get my story, memories of growing up and stuff. Might be a little inappropriate to share with this audience. But, check it out. There used to be a Wendy's where the Javi Center is at now. Just knowing that a corporate fast food restaurant was taken over by Mexicans says a lot about the demographic flow of the East Side. Still, when it used to be a Wendy's, man, I had a friend, Big Frank. Oh, dude, he got hired there. Let me just tell you.
Frank appears to his first day of work.
Try this on. Does it fit?
No.
Alright, how about this one? Here, try this one.
This is a manager shirt.
Yeah, well, that's all we got.
Alright.
So of course, he was the dopey manager. And on his first day on the job,
Robber 1 steps into Wendy's, throws on a ski mask.
What's up, big boy?
Oh, come on, man.
Shut up! You know what you gotta do, eh? Hurry up, fool, hurry!
Frank fills the bag with whatever he can get from the register.
And I'll take a bacon double cheeseburger too.
Man,
Frank grabs him a burger and hands it over. The robber takes off.
What happened?
I got Jack.
Oh, guess he must have thought you were the manager.
alright, until the very next day.
Robber number 2 enters, throws on a ski mask.
Oh, come on, man.
Frank fills the bag. Frank just hands it over without saying anything. Robber 2 takes it and runs. JP enters the store.
Day after that, I went and hit up Frank. What, you gonna stay working your company, man?
Hell no.
Come on, fool, let's go check out the DJ spinning the jams over at La Paz Park.
Alright.
Well, that's it. Anyways, I guess the story about my friend getting robbed at work shouldn't be used for any Side Stories project. But that shit was funny anyways.
End of Act 1. Act 2, Scene 1. Interviewers driving down Market Street.
Where are we going? Just taking a little cruise.
Hey, I know we're not doing anything wrong, but can't help feeling like a suspect driving around with you guys.
You must be suffering from post-traumatic profiling disorder, huh?
How did you know?
Check it out. Chinatown. A lot of history here, y'all.
Imagine if these walls would talk.
Wasn't this the second biggest Chinatown next to San Francisco?
She.
What did you say?
She. She or C? She, as yes in Mandarin.
She means yes in Mandarin.
What's Mandarin?
It's a language spoken in China.
I thought they spoke Chinese in China.
China's a country, not a language.
Oh, I get it. Like America, where a lot of languages are spoken.
Yeah, like Pekingese.
Mixtec.
Zapotec.
And those are all the Hokkien languages. You mean they don't speak Oaxacan in Oaxaca?
So what are we doing in Chinatown?
Not really the east side, but it does lie on the east side of the tracks.
Oh, I heard Mrs. Campbell from the ReAlisal used to run a restaurant over here.
Who's that?
A well-respected African-American woman, a business owner of a place called The Swing Time. And get this, Ike and Tina Turner played there.
Yeah? Oh, I wonder if they play Big Wheel Keep On Turning.
Hail Mary, keep on burning.
Rolling, rolling, rolling on a river. Get up, toot, 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 toot.
Hey, watch out!
Oh, she.
Ah! Sorry, y'all. Everybody cool?
Kinda not.
Just make them traumatized.
Sorry, guys. Won't happen again. Got distracted.
Who like tell you how to drive?
Mike Beal.
Who taught him?
Act 2, Scene 2. Terry Espinosa.
Hello, Terry Espinosa, retired teacher from ReAlisal High. And when I got here, oh man, when I got here, I was apolitical. It was 1968 and I didn't speak Spanish very well, and...
Ah, señor Espinosa, ¿cómo está usted?
Oh, pues,
¿Qué?
It was hard at first, but I eventually got better. Bien, bien, señor, gracias a Dios. ¿Y usted?
Pues ahí le llevamos, señor Espinosa, trabajando duro, pero como burros, pero todo para que lleguen estos jóvenes a donde deben de llegar, ¿verdad?
Y por eso estamos aquí, señor.
Y de saber eso nos hace sentirte bien, maestro.
Pues muy agradecido, gracias. I knew I was Mexican, 6th generation Denver, Colorado Mexican, but I didn't really know much about the cultura until I was already teaching at ReAlisal High. And I was at a faculty meeting when, out of nowhere, these students come busting in. One of them, by the name of Philip Tavera, who today just so happens to be sitting on the school board, and another guy you might remember by the name of Jesse Sanchez. And they came in and...
We demand that you listen to us.
And I said, why you little... What do you mean we demand? Have some
This is
respect.
high school and our parents pay taxes.
But you insist on treating them
Like they're from another planet.
We need Spanish-speaking people in front of the office.
Spanish-speaking counselors.
Spanish-speaking administrators.
And some Spanish-speaking teachers. And by the way, the food in the cafeteria is disgusting.
We were raised on beans.
And tortillas.
Not cold mashed potatoes.
And rubber meat.
Can't even swallow this stuff.
They had a whole list, pretty well organized too. And one of their demands was
A Chicano history class.
At the time, I didn't like history because, well, history teachers I had as a kid didn't like history. Still, when the principal of the school called me into his office, Principal Kearney, he said,
Mr. Espinosa, we would like you to teach Mexican-American history.
I don't like history. I don't know anything about it.
But you're Mexican living in America.
And I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, do me a favor. I made arrangements with the instructor of a Chicano history class, and I want you to pay them. Take a day to go see what they have to offer.
You mean a day off from school?
Yes.
Oh, sounds good. Where are you sending me to? San Jose State? UC Santa Cruz?
No, so that's in prison.
So there I was, sent to a state correctional facility to learn more about us. I tried sitting in the back, hoping nobody would notice me when suddenly all these pintos came walking in with their tattoos and their tattoos. And then the teacher comes in and he's like,
All right, settle down. We got a special guest who came to sit in our class. Mr. Espinosa, can you introduce yourself, please, and tell these people what you told me on the phone?
Hi, my name is Terry Espinosa, and well, I'm a teacher at ReAlisal.
I used to go there.
All right, alumni.
Tell them what you told me.
Well, I don't know Mexican.
What? You mean you don't know about Benito Juárez?
Who?
Indio Zapotec from Oaxaca became the greatest president of Mexico.
From where?
How about Temoxin, Ashtacular Tenochtitlan? What's up against the Spanish colonizers? He was captured and burned at their feet because he wouldn't welcome the gold, that's it. Alright, well you gotta know about Doroteo Arango.
Mm-hmm.
Pancho Villa home!
Pancho Villa? Wasn't he a communist?
Nah!
I think you got some studying to do.
I would never have expected to feel the true power of history walking into that prison that day. Thanks to those brothers, I returned to ReAlisal High with a different perspective. I also noticed the pride beginning to blossom amongst young RAZA students. Learning more about my cultura became important. Why, I remember this one time I pulled out this great big Life magazine coffee table book on Mexico, right? And I opened it up to the pyramids of Teotihuacan, and I was like, oh, there's pyramids in Mexico?
Mr. Espinosa!
OG educators have given a lot.
They all have.
All the neighborhood fathers.
And neighborhood mothers.
Our neighborhood hermanos.
And barrio veteranos.
They were figuring it out as they went along.
And when they came out of the east side, it came
Strong!
Act 2, Scene 3. The Chicano movement comes to ReAlisal High School.
What's this?
It's our request.
To hold our very first Cinco de Mayo celebration.
Here on the campus of ReAlisal High.
Are you kidding me? This is not acceptable.
We did exactly what we were told.
Well, we know English is a second language to you guys, but there are a couple of T's to be crossed and some I's to be dotted.
Philip and Jesse get the paperwork back from the ASB officers and begin making corrections.
I learned with that experience how important the paperwork had to be in order.
Here!
Okay, I guess.
Órale!
But you only get 15 minutes.
What?
Take it or leave it.
Alright, we'll take it.
For now.
It was our first Cinco de Mayo celebration at ReAlisal High School. Ever. We ate Mexican food, played Mexican music, and had a Mexican-American
Chicano?
speaker. The next year we got 30 minutes, and the year after that we got the full lunch hour.
Enter Manuel Olivas.
It was 1970, the year the UFW came in Salinas, and the Mayo Club turned me on some very influential mentors, like this investigator for the California Rural Legal Assistance Agency, Manuel Olivas. Manuel had already been working with attorney Maurice Jordan at the time, and one of the assignments he gave me, because I was 15 and I had a car, was
Drive over to these roads and take pictures of the workers in the field.
I didn't know what it was for, and I didn't know what it was about until...
Your Honor, I would like to present these photographs as evidence and use a shorthand in violation of the court injunctions issued by the court.
I had other priorities formulated that year, like cruising. We would cruise market, the Fruits of Madera, Gloucester Park was their Saturday night gig. But on one Saturday, as I was getting my ride ready, I get a call from Manuel.
I need you to come to the office right now.
But I'm getting ready to go out.
Well, we need you here and now.
Man, So I went over to the office on Cayuga, right across from the street of the city jail.
Come in and sit down right here.
I'm in this meeting room, this Victorian house with big giant sliding doors. I see a station wagon drive up. I see this dude who wore black glasses, a brown coat, a real heavy vato with a mean looking police dog. And there were some others like him too. I'm just totally unaware what's going on. I look up at the door and all of a sudden these dudes come walking in with this big long roll of paper. And I'm like, what the hell? I see the big tall dude. I see the dog. And in the crowd of men was one of the greatest grassroots organizers in the U.S., Marshall Gans. And as I was trying to be so starstruck, I hear Manuel call my name.
Philip!
Huh?
Come here, I want you to meet someone. Dolores, this is Philip Tavera. Philip, this is Dolores.
Hola, señora Huerta.
Okay now, Philip. Excuse me, Dolores.
That's Dolores Huerta?
I know!
She's really here?
Yes, she is. And you know who else?
Who?
Him. Cesar. This is one of the kids I was telling you about. Philip, this is...
Cesar Chavez. What an honor. And right then and there, from that moment on, whatever they wanted, whatever they needed, I was down for it. And I mean not just me, but so many of us were taking a stand and making a commitment to the farm worker movement. People came from all over the state of California, all over the country to march in Salinas. Tens of thousands of people, farm workers, supporters, started gathering first at the office by Sherwood School. Then more started coming in when they took over Hartnell College to hear him speak his simple message of coming together. But back then it was different with the unions, especially unions who couldn't recognize the purpose of the UFW. This union I'm talking about were the Teamsters. And again, different time back then, when they would bring in their goons to patrol the east side. The growers filed an injunction of their own to stop the strike the UFW had initiated. But when Cesar was locked up in the old Salinas City jail, it brought even more attention to the cause. There were folks outside of the jail marching in an altar where prayers were given in support. I got to meet two of Cesar's visitors, Mrs. Ethel Kennedy, widow of Robert F. Kennedy, and Mrs. Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King. For our biggest Cinco de Mayo parade, students from every high school Latino club in the area came out to work. We had 5,000 people on both sides of Market Street, 4 to 5 people deep watching the parade. We had marching bands and politicians. Get this, the former head of the CIA, Leon Panetta, was the Grand Marshal. We had Cinco de Mayo queens all riding together in lowriders provided by car clubs like the Crusaders. The whole event would culminate at the expo with over 10,000 people in attendance. The funds we raised, we used to keep the CEP Center open. The Culture Enrichment Program. We ran programs in visual arts, music, photography, and dance. It was always community-oriented. My homeboy David Nunez was a big help in all that. You heard of him, right? David Nunez, ever heard of Lowrider magazine?
Act 2, Scene 4. Enter David Nunez with a camera.
I tell you, Holmes, he's rampa, pero puro.
And your photographs are pretty chingon too, Wesley. En serio, bro, the world should recognize such beauty.
Well, you know I'm part of an operation to make that happen, Holmes.
What's that?
This.
Lowrider magazine?
Yup.
Who's working on it?
A team of some top-notch professionals, bro. Mija!
Yeah, Dad?
You almost done with that first act?
Almost.
Thanks, Mija. Daddy loves you.
Love you too, Dad.
Child labor. Hey, so what's up with the Cinco de Mayo parade?
It's gonna be the biggest ever, carnal.
Still gotta meet up with all the clicas, though.
That's right, we can't have no pelo go down.
Sure, could you imagine? Raza fighting Raza on Cinco de Mayo?
Can't afford it.
But we can afford to throw them a little powwow barbacoa, que no?
Feed them some carne asada, serve them some chelas.
Should get them to relax a little bit. But we can't do it here at the center.
Nah, it's too hot around here, more like somewhere on the north side.
Off the radar?
You know it.
Homeboys start arriving, checking in their weapons. David holds a receipt book and a tie tag, collecting all their cuetes, knives, and brass knuckles into a box.
Look, this is what we're going to be doing, and we want to do it with all y'all's cooperation. The cops are going to be doing their best to shut us down. They're already charging us for chingadera y media. But people from all over the country are going to be here. So we're going to need you all to back us up.
¿Qué quiere de nosotros ese?
A truce.
For how long, Holmes?
From Thursday night at 12 o'clock till Monday at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, for you, vato, solamente.
Because we know what you do.
We had about a 2.5 mile-long line of lowriders from all over, right here in East Salinas. And for those Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, all the hotels, motels, and Holiday Inns were booked. Gas stations and restaurants reported record profits and not a single incident. Not one. No fights, no vandal, no nothing. At least, not until 2 o'clock on Sunday morning when you heard. The city eventually started coming down on us. The center shut down and cultural events on the east side started taking a more regulated route since. But we all kept doing our thing. Oh, and Lowrider magazine, well, that kind of got a little complicated. It turned into something else, but it was all good. I still had a lot of fun, though. Took a lot of pictures and met a lot of famous folks, too. Como el super bad James Brown, El Chicano, Rosie and the Originals, Brandon Wood, War, Tierra, the Midnighters. Oh, man, the list goes on and on. And there was Firme, too. Low riding con your familia. Real peaceful, eh? Until.
What you claim, I said?
What?
I said what you claim.
Oh, nothing, brother Angel.
Where you from?
Salinas.
What, they don't got this over there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, mark my words, Holmes. 10 years. 10 years and it's gonna be in your backyard.
That was the late 70s.
Act 2, Scene 5.
So that's how they got that in the 70s?
And Devin Nunes' contribution was more than we'll never imagine.
Dang, that's crazy.
Homeboy was in the mix. Community came first.
Before material profits.
His mission was never for recognition.
Gotta keep the legacy alive.
At least in our hearts and minds.
And celebrate the contribution made. But when folks look back at that day,
Some are real quick to say that
Everything changed.
after Cesar Chavez helped rein in,
A self-determined RAZA.
Then a good number of white folk.
felt they had to pack up and leave. Llegaron los 80s.
And then came the greed.
Bustley agreed.
Come in.
See, making stuff in this country
Used to be our job.
That turned into retail and semi-skilled service.
Pero cuando votaron la gente,
The controllers got nervous.
voters adopt district elections.
Setting us up for a whole new direction.
that was far from an end.
Cause what was about to begin.
Rompió the community.
The political got personal, making some forget about it.
Democracy.
Brought up a lot of drama.
Over what had begun.
And by the time the 90s came,
Violence began to claim the young. Act 2, Scene 6. Jose Zelaya at the very beginning of his journey into boxing.
Hey, catch Jose? Go for it.
Hey, you want me to roll this?
No.
What you say? I'm talking to you, bitch.
The ball gets tossed to Jose. Bully goes out of his way to stick Jose extremely hard to the ground. Standing over him, he kicks him in the ribs.
Stay down, puto. Ha, stay down.
The bully grabs a chunk of dirt and sticks it in Jose's face.
How you like that, eh, you little...
Jose socks the bully right off of him.
Damn!
Jose jumps all over the bully.
Kick his ass, Jose! Kick his... Oh, hey, somebody's coming, Jose! Somebody's coming!
The friend grabs Jose and runs. The bully exits in tears.
Let's go! Oh, man, you messed him up good. Come blood all over your shirt. Your parents gonna get mad?
I don't know.
Oh, hey, get your dad.
¡José! ¡José! ¡Ven para acá!
Later, eh?
¿En dónde andabas?
En el parque.
¿Y qué andas haciendo?
Ah, jugando nomás.
¡No me eches mentiras!
Él lo empezó.
¿Y qué? Le partiste a la madre, ¿verdad?
Miguel, ¿qué le pasó a José?
Nada, anda bien. A ver, ¿quieres pelear?
¿A dónde van?
No se preocupe.
Ay, Miguel.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Quería meter a mi hijo a boxear. Ponte chucha, José, no te dejes.
Ok.
What's your name, kid?
José.
Or said, put these clothes on and get in there. See what you got. Gerardo! Get in there, Jose. Okay, drop it to the left. To the left!
Oh!
Oh, yeah, there it is. You okay, Hannah?
I'm good.
Pretty good, Jose. Looks like you got something to work with.
That day was April 26, 1992. I was 10 years old, and from that day on, I was hooked.
hey Jose, where you coming from?
Fred Washington.
Oh, you're boxing now?
Yeah?
Oh, you think you're bad?
Nah.
Too good for us or what?
I'm stupid.
Let's see if you're still down. Hit this.
Nah, it's cool.
Don't be a bum.
I ain't no fun.
Get it then.
boxing felt good, and then the ring was where I needed to be.
Hey, you ready?
Yeah, Simon.
Oh! No kidding, no, homie? Jose, oh man, you okay? Gotcha! Aw, this dude!
Hey, I'm cool, hey, keep going.
Oh, I gotta bounce. Sorry about that, eh?
That's cool.
Later.
Gerardo Bañuelos was my friend. He was 1.5 years older than me. I looked up to him. He was good, he was fast, and he was gang related. I was training here at the bread box when it happened. Should have been working out with me, right? We should have both went pro, together.
And in this corner, coming in from the east side of Salinas, the one-time alternate for the 2000 United States Olympic boxing team, with 37 professional fights, 31 and 6, with 16 knockouts. Jose, the Act 2, Scene 7. Imelda, little Isaac, and the homegirls enter with a shopping cart at the very top of the driveway in the Acosta Plaza Laurel Townhouse community.
Hey, Isaac, get in. No, Isaac, don't listen to that.
Why?
It'll be fun.
No, it won't. Guys.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? Isaac, don't.
Yeah!
I mean it, he's gonna get hurt.
No, he won't!
What was that?
Yeah!
I'm gonna get in trouble, guys. Can't hear you.
Yeah!
The homegirls let go of the shopping cart.
Isaac!
Isaac crashes into the icicle plants.
Oh, dang. He was okay. He crashed right into the icicle plants. Oh, but you know what's funny, though? We put those icicle plants to real good use.
Act 2, Scene 8. Homegirls throwing icicle plants at a second-story window.
Imelda!
Imelda!
What? What are you doing? Nothing. What are you guys doing?
I got a new oldies tape.
Come over. Okay.
Imelda jumps out of the window and lands on her feet. Homegirls take a trip to One Stop Corner Store. Enter Steve, a Chinese immigrant and martial arts master. He stands behind the counter as homegirls grab snacks to purchase.
What's up, Steve? Nobody trying to jack you, Steve?
No. You don't mess with Steve, huh?
No comment.
Ah! What are you gonna do, Steve?
Tries to throw a punch to see if Steve flinches, but he doesn't.
Dang, Steve.
Cuidado, Steve. Steve, don't mess around.
The homegirls laugh as they leave One Stop and head back into Acosta Plaza. Enter party goers crowding up in front of a doorway.
Hey, looks like something's going on at your pad.
Oh, yeah. Party over here.
What?
Act 2, Scene 9.
Hey, mija, check it out! Near those homies and they brought beer!
Dad, why?
Why, wow? We're just having a little fun.
On a Tuesday?
Hey, picture time!
Hey.
Come on, get in!
Where are you going?
Nowhere, leave me alone.
Come on, mija, don't be like your mom. Oh, yeah? A ver. Dad, hold my beer. I'll be right back.
Dad follows the homie to the back. Imelda takes note of what's happening around her and exits. Act 2, Scene 10.
I remember everyone would hang out there. It was straight up like a safe haven for all these different families from all these different hoods. You had a problem, folks would back you up. They'd even let you hide out in their own place.
¿Qué haces aquí, muchacho?
Escóndeme ya, señora.
Quítate de aquí.
Dang. At least the ones I knew.
Por aquí, hijo. Órale.
¿Dónde?
Aquí, ahí, métete.
Whoa!
Se fueron.
Oh, gracias, señora.
Pero ya es la última vez que te voy a dejar que te escondes aquí. ¿Me oyes?
Okay, señora, okay.
¿Me oyes?
Yeah! I mean, sí, señora.
Ándale pues, vete con cuidado. Y dile a esos mendigos que ya le baje a ese vidajo.
Hey, turn it down!
As the party continues, Senora Torres and her neighborhood watch crew enter with jackets and walkie-talkies, catching the attention of the homies.
9:15, come in. 9:15? It is 9:12. There's a party going on. Looks suspicious.
Hey, neighborhood watch lady. Hey, what's up? You want a party?
You have open containers?
Man, you guys are always tripping. Hey, let me talk to her. Hey, neighborhood watch lady. Excuse me, neighborhood watch lady. Dispensa, neighborhood watch lady. But this ain't alcoholic. Hell no, this is for fertilizante, yo.
Hey, Manto, I paid for that 40.
Put it away, bro, or she get kicked down with the cookies and tea. Huh? You gonna invite us to cookies and tea?
You're more than welcome to join us.
Nah! Whatever.
We wouldn't even be doing anything, primo. At least not there, at that moment, in front of everyone. But they were always trying to roll up a hard on us, telling us to.
Take it inside.
Saying things like,
We don't want any problems.
and we were always like,
Neither do we.
The neighborhood watch team retreats as the partygoers pull back, avoiding problems.
Rachel Torres, current community liaison at ReAlisal High School and former resident of Acosta Plaza, a place where I raised my family, learned about myself and my community. And just a year before my son Luis graduated, I organized residents from the Salinas Union High School District decided on their own they would not include students from Acosta Plaza. Something had to be done.
Act 2, Scene 11, 1995 Everett Alvarez boundaries.
Welcome, residents.
Members of the community,
We want to begin tonight's meeting.
By addressing the boundaries that will be established
determined from which areas
Our students will be coming from
to attend
Everett
Alvarez High School.
Why is Acosta Plaza not drawn into your district?
Come again?
See this line? See how it comes all the way down Sanborn and then turns right up Gardner and then around the back of Acosta Plaza?
and your point is?
Who decided that this was how the district was going to be mapped out?
We're
Going to go ahead and
table this issue.
for our next meeting.
Act 2, Scene 12,
By
Los
the-
Políticos.
By determining the district boundaries without public say or knowledge, you are dividing a qualified area to favor one group over another. Do you know what that's called? Anybody? Gerrymandering, that's right. It's unconstitutional, illegal, and unfortunately for you, it's, can you guess what I'm about to say? Starts with an R. Anybody? Exactly.
This was an important decision that should not have required so much effort, but it happened and we did something about it so it doesn't happen again.
Act 2, Scene 13, Mr. Medina and the spirit of his familia.
ReAlisal? Oh yeah, pretty much grew up here. Been around since 1946, 1947, working the fields, served my country in the Korean War, and surviving through some really tough times, like having to go to sleep hungry, but making it through. Not for me, no, never for me, but for my familia, my reason for living. Me and my wife Rosanna raised 7 children, 3 girls and 4 boys, all ReAlisal High graduates. And you know, I've made it a point to be with them ever since my first child started going there. That's been 33 years now. They're all graduated now, but you will still find me there, right there con los estudiantes, en este, the house, el house of thrills. That's where I'll be, like an anclaje, like an anchor at all the basketball games, doing my best to help them do their best. Serious. Through all the good and through all the good and the bad.
UC Berkeley graduation ceremony. Gilbert Jr. appears in his cap and gown.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the University of California graduating class of 1995.
Gilbert throws his cap in the air. Mr. Medina approaches his son.
This is from me and your mother, mijo.
Oh, wow, gracias, Pop.
We were so proud of our son, we bought him a brand new car. Nothing fancy, but something he can get around. On the last weekend of July, Gilbert and his girlfriend came to visit us. That was Friday, July 28th when he brought her over. We had a great time. Rosella made her enchiladas. The next day they were in Monterey, where his job. He had to videotape a delegation of Russians. That's what he did. Later on, he calls to tell me,
Dad, we're going up to Bodega Bay.
you ever been there? Up in Northern California? We'll never ever go there. Because on Sunday, July 30th, my wife and I were at home when I see through the window of my living room this police car drive up and park. I was a little thrown off by that. I thought that's strange, but you know, whatever. Then suddenly, I hear a knock at the door. Hello?
Are you Mr. Medina?
Yes? What can I do for you?
I have bad news, sir. It's your son.
Yes?
Your son Gilbert has drowned. Sorry, Mr. Medina.
That was was the worst day of my life. For the next 2 years, I wouldn't leave my home. I quit working. I shut down. I was angry. I was angry at God. Why? Why did he take my son? Why couldn't he take me? Right behind where we live runs the ReAlisal snow. Look on the map. It'll say reclamation dish number quién sabe qué. And the only time I ever went out was for these ducks that had always gathered out there, waiting for me to feed them. Well, one night I had this dream like it was really happening. I'm stepping out of my home and I'm walking out by the canal, and I remember seeing right there my son's old car, and in it is Gilbert's.
Gilbert sees his father, smiles, opens his door, steps out, and begins to walk towards him.
Gilbert's?
Hey, Dad.
What are you doing here, mijo?
What do you mean, Dad? Don't you know? They only let the good guys come here. You gotta let me go, Dad. Please.
I love you, mijo.
Love you too, Dad.
Something happened to me that night. That dream changed me. The next morning, I got up and I went to ReAlisal High School. That was where all my children graduated from, and something told me to go there and speak. Tell my story, and that's what I did. I told my story to 150 kids that day. I told them just because you have something today doesn't mean that you will always have that something. That is why it's important to tell your brothers and sisters, everyone in your family, that you love them. I also let them know that they had me beat. I didn't have the education that they were getting. But none of that was going to mean anything if they were just smart. They had to be wise and use their wisdom, and not just for yourself, but your family, your community, you know? I thank my son for helping me let go of that pain and share my wisdom with the young people of the ReAlisal. That's what I do and will continue to do for the rest of my days.
Act 2, Scene 14.
What do you all think?
There's a lot.
And then there's still a lot more.
A whole lot more that we're not addressing.
Like what? Like all kinds of things.
Still don't know why.
All the fact that you shut down.
Netflix, shootings, firestones, freckles! Why there's so many apartments in our neighborhood?
While the others are all living outside of our community.
As far out as
The East Coast.
control.
And
The ghosts.
Two Chicanos.
Angel Reese and Brian Alvarado!
Two salvadoreños.
Osman Hernandez and Carlos Mejia!
2016 Vice magazine called Salinas.
The youth homicide capital of California! Why the East Side generates the most income?
And we got experts still trying to figure out there's such a
Negative stigma!
Ignore the beautiful struggle they.
Nuestros vecinos.
Young and old. Go before we get to them.
Who they were.
Who they are!
La verdad es que no hay tiempo.
Para renegar.
When we can be sharing.
gifts.
Wisdom.
Voice.
Lessons!
Simple questions too, huh?
How? Why?
When?
Where?
The East Side! That's where!
For us.
For everybody.
Todos los que contribuyeron.
And still contribute.
Now is the only time you've got to give some love.
Y respeto.
A todos nuestros vecinos.
All our neighbors.
We're right next door.
And we want to say gracias, thank you, Mary Ann Warren,
For standing for the safety and well-being of our community.
Jim York,
Being one of the first to bring groceries to this community.
Eliseo Felipe,
Filipino American World War II veteran.
Mike Rubio,
First punk rocker on the east side.
the Coronado family,
Rolling it down to Ragsdale Dogpatch City.
the Lake Street Jammers,
All female breakdancers representing the early 80s.
for all those Okies and Narkies still thriving and surviving on the East Side.
Those who've been taken away from us.
Way too early.
Rest in power.
Descansen, boy.
To all of you.
Our peers.
Our sisters.
Our brothers. Sus padres.
Y madres.
daughters.
And sons.
Let's kick us sometime.
93905,
ReAlisal.
East Salinas.
where we're from.
Hey, wait!
What? What's up?
Just got some alerts.
You seriously put alerts out?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
What?
You gotta check this out.
What is it?
Maps!
Look.
Which one?
Okay, starting with this one.
Seen it before.
Okay, how about this one?
See that one too?
All right, well, have you seen this one?
Yeah, hey, what year is that?
1913.
Whoa.
You see us in Southern?
Yup.
You see her now?
No.
Well, you're looking in the wrong place.
Oh, there it
Hey,
is!
that's Old Stage Road. Wow, there are a lot of Spanish names for the locations.
You notice that?
Hard not to.
All right. Now check this one out.
That's not a map.
Not yet, but look closely.
That's a Jalisciense.
Number 2.
I know, but look closer. Zoom it in.
All right.
What is that?
That's a sign.
What is that? What does that mean?
Baktun.
All right, thank you so much, everybody, for coming out tonight. We're going to go ahead and open up the door for those of you who need to go ahead and get on home. We understand we respect your time. Thank you for joining us. If you are not leaving, hello. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm going to give the actors and the director an opportunity to introduce themselves first. So starting from here all the way down, go ahead and say your name and what school you go to.
My name is Brian Rodriguez. I am a senior at ReAlisal High School.
My name is Elizabeth Perez, and I'm also a senior at ReAlisal High School.
My name is Alejandra and I go to ReAlisal Community School.
My name is Ingrid and I'm a sophomore at ReAlisal High. My name is Erica and I go to Galileo Middle School.
My name is Alexis Velasquez, and I'm a junior at ReAlisal High School.
My name is Tasmin and I go to Frank Paul.
My name is Isabella Collin, and I'm a freshman at Salinas High School.
And my name is Andres Ortiz. I was the director.
So thank you again for coming out. I want to open up the floor to any of you, any questions, comments, feelings that you might have. Please feel free to ask away any questions or feelings that you might have. No questions? Yeah.
I just only because I didn't understand the very last, what were we looking at the map?
So thank you for bringing that up. Unfortunately, I think our projection stalled for a second. But what you should have seen there is that there was a sign for tribal land that's on the east side. So it is alluding to the fact that there is tribal land on the east side, obviously. So there's a whole other story to unravel there. And so part of that, I want to acknowledge something special in the audience tonight. The writer of this beautiful piece, Luis Xago. So I guess real quick, I think what I will do, since we don't have any questions here, any other questions? Yes?
I was wondering how many parents and family members of cast members are in the audience tonight?
Yes, please. Any parents, raise your hand. All right, so any other questions? Feelings? Thoughts? Yes?
Just wondering how, like, as students and residents of the East Side, what were there things that you learned from the play that were surprising or that made you think differently about where you live?
I genuinely was surprised when I found out that that area, piece of land behind Walgreens, was tribal land. And I always just thought it was an empty spot that no one wanted, but surprised to know, tribal land.
Anybody else? I thought the same thing. I was going to say that too.
Yeah, I too found that out just a few weeks ago. When I found that out, I was like, man, that's crazy. And another thing también, this other cool, like, just getting a bit more background of where I live is really interesting también. Like, another thing that I learned too is that there used to be one of those drive-in theaters over there by, como se dice, MLK, the school. And when I found that out, I was like, wow, that's crazy. You know? Just finding out little bits of information like that. really cool stuff, and it really does makes this place feel a lot more special.
You used to go to that theater? Nice. What was it? Do you remember the movie you saw? Nice. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, I wanted to hear a little bit more about the process. I was so impressed with the work and also the play, and I guess I'm curious about both the writing of the play, because it seemed like a lot of narratives were brought in, a lot of people's stories, and also about Artists Inc. and the process with the students, because it was such a wonderful collaborative effort.
Well, I will say as a partner, I feel very honored to be able to be entrusted with this work. I'm very close and bond with it because I'm from the East Side. So hearing and learning more history about my community, it's empowering. It's like, oh, you're going to say that about us, or the media says this about us? Well, here's straight from our neighbors, mouth, right? And Xago has done a beautiful job of collecting these stories. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about that process. But yeah, as far as as a partner, it's been a beautiful journey. We joined them in 2013, 14, and it's just kind of been organic with them.
This piece is a combination. They're pulling most of it from, some of it from the second piece, ReAlisal Stories of Casa Plaza, and then the first one, which was most of the material came from the first one, ReAlisal, Your Neighbor's Story, and that there was like a total of for both projects. There was like at least about 60 stories total for both projects, and we were able to just kind of tailor it down. And what you got to see here tonight was a mix, as much of a mix as possible. But there's so much more. There are a lot more stories, and now, my wife and I, now that we live here, we feel a little more. It's a little more busier, and I'm a little more overwhelmed. Reminded about stuff that I remember growing up, on Tal and Dalmani, and then the schools that I went to, and then now making connections. Oh, that happened this, that happened then. A relationship with the Taveras. Philip Tavera, the trustee of Salinas Unified School, Salinas Union High School District. Just give him a round of applause. So, just having that opportunity to learn from our neighbors, all of our neighbors and even relatives. I didn't know that there was a Black and Filipino family that we grew up right across the street from, and it wasn't until way later that I found out that the father was the first Black graduate, ReAlisal High School graduate. He told me, yeah, I was the first one to graduate from that, first Black student to graduate from that school. And I was like, oh wow, and he shared a couple of crazy stories that, I have them all in the queue, and I know a lot of other people do too, right? Going as far back as the 30s, so there's just so much. And I invite others to do the same, to do our own research around our neighborhood. The Nunez family who's in the house tonight, we'll give them a their father, rest in peace, he passed away right before we did the first ReAlisal, and that we were privileged to have that time and be able to hear his story, just that short amount of time. But the significance that, the Nunez family had, David Nunez Sr. had on the culture, the impact that it's had, even worldwide. I mean, this is No Writer magazine. It took me so long to figure this out. did change. It changed the way I looked at my neighborhood. I had love for it, but that love goes deeper when you find out what your neighbor has gone through, what they've done, where they came from, and what it takes to now survive in such an expensive housing market, you know. So, where my parents bought their home for $11,000 on top, you know, between La Michoacana and Cesar Chavez Elementary. You know, that was 1968. You know, the math, the economics, the culture, you just get lost in it. It's a rabbit hole. Somebody save me!
No.
But thank you, Emily. Yes.
I've been working with Xago since the very first iteration of this piece, and I don't know how many iterations I've seen since then, but it's constantly evolving. What I really missed this time was the stories of Jesse Sanchez in particular, on the redistricting issue and all the things that Jesse did for the community. That's sort of dropped away this time.
There was still hints of that in there, and I think part of the problem, or what I think Xago was alluding to too, is that there's so many stories, right? And they're all like equally valuable and equally, you know what I mean, like important for us to share. But I think that also leaves us with an opportunity, right, to see what the future holds and how we can continue to expand these stories and share these stories in a way that's meaningful, but also that kind of honors and respects everybody's story. Yes?
I have a question. Does this go on Facebook?
It does. And actually, I'm so sorry, I was up there in the booth going, man, I wish I should have told you guys. You're our live audience. So tonight, your live audience feed will be available for you to listen to. MASA for la RAZA is up there. Let's give him a round of applause. Our very first broadcasting of a live production. We're trying to test the idea of maybe like a radio show. So tonight you were the live audience for that, and we hope that we can share that with you. You can go back and listen. But thank you for being so beautiful and a great audience. I want to also real quick honor all the parents that are here for the students. Let's give them a round of applause. As well to the Western Stage for housing us tonight. Are there any other questions to the students before we leave?
Great job.
Yes, si se puede, ¿no? What do you say?
Si se puede.
All right. Tell everybody you can, let them come hear the stories. Thank you.